Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us for our Tuesday teardowns. I'm your host Maggie, and we also have Jen on here. And just to kind of give you a quick rundown, I know we do this every 2 weeks, but just as a reminder, we are live on LinkedIn and YouTube. And what we do every other week is we first talk a little bit about a stat when it comes to cold email, but we review a cold outreach sequence. So today we are reviewing one from Sprig, which I'm excited to get into. The one thing is I just want to look at this statistic today that I found. So a single follow-up, which we'll be reviewing a two-step sequence today, so it's perfect. A single follow-up email can increase the reply rate from 9% to 13%, like within between those ranges, which I think is completely true. I always like to tell people who, feel like they're bothering someone by following up with them that first you need to figure out how to follow up with someone without bothering them. And then the second thing is the first time that someone reads that email or doesn't open that email could just be a bad time. Like there are so many times where I look at the preview of an email on my phone and I know I have to respond to it, but I'm about to get in the car. So of course I'm going to forget about it on my drive. I'm going to think about 100 other things. And then by the time I get out, I'm not responding to that email. So Jed, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I think it makes complete sense. Our highest response rate on any of any email in our sequence is always our second one. And to your exact point, which is people read emails, they forget to respond. That's why I'm a fan of using no value add bump emails like any dots, because I don't want to detract from the original email. I want to bump it one more time and just see if maybe it was relevant or maybe they just actually weren't interested. That's why I try to give at least one bump. And that's usually our highest responding emails, that first kind of bump email.
Yeah, exactly. It's just that reminder. And I think the key to it is whatever type of software you're using to send out emails, or even if you're doing it manually, have that bump email be a reply thread to the previous email so that you're bumping to that previous one. I'd say never with the second email in a sequence, have it as its own thread, because you still have that awesome real estate from the first email, which people kind of like to think of that first email as like a landing page, like a great landing page. So yeah, don't write that off and just have it a bump from there. But cool. So we are going to review an email from Sprig. It was actually sent over to someone on our product team here at Mailshake. It definitely caught their eye, and I really like the approach, which we'll dive into. But it is going to be it's going to be two email steps in here. So Jed, do you want to share your screen so we can get into it?
For sure. Yeah, I like the approach a lot. It's something that I personally use as well. Maggie, let me know if and when you can see it.
We can see it.
Okay. Alrighty, so I'll just read through the email. Congrats from Sprig. Hi, congrats on recently joining the Mailshake. I wanted the $60 Uber Eats gift card to congratulate you. Unsure whether you recall or use Sprig, enabling them to research the entire product dev lifecycle. If you can confirm your best email address, I'll send you the gift card as an expression of appreciation and in recognition. Cheers. So I'll give my initial thoughts on this one, and then Maggie, I'm curious to hear yours as well. First off, I think my biggest takeaway from this is always take the $50 Uber Eats gift card. No, that was a bad joke. But no, I think tough crowd.
Seriously.
No, I think I like the approach of reaching out to people who previously worked at your customers. So when I was at PandaDoc, for example, we had lots of big customers. I would always find people that used to work at one of our customers. As soon as they go to a new place, I would reach out to them and say, hey, remember using PandaDoc at your last company? Here's a gift card. Let me know if you'd be open to introducing me to somebody else. And it doesn't even have to be a decision maker, right? Ben isn't necessarily a decision maker, but because Ben's probably used or is familiar or has that social proof with Sprig, Ben's probably going to be pretty inclined to give a easy referral to Jody, who is our head of product, even though Ben isn't a decision maker. But Maggie, curious to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's a smart play, and I think it's something we've talked about before, Jed, that you've taught me of like reaching out with specific triggers. So I think it's awesome that like this person did their due diligence. They didn't just like go and prospect something and then they came back and use that in the email. I think it's a really strong lead in to, ask for a meeting or just see like if they're using something similar at the company. So I think making that point of reference is awesome. I am like up in the air of like how I feel about what was I going to say, Uber Eats gift cards. I don't know, but in this case I kind of don't mind the way that they did it. It's congratulating them on a new position, so it's not like that feeling of, hey, if you take a meeting with me, here's a $50 gift card. They actually say like, this is a congratulations. So those are my 2 cents about it.
Yeah, like I think I like that approach more than, like you said, asking for a meeting with the gift card.
Mhm.
And I think I know the approach they're trying to take, which is like slowly warming them up and then probably asking Ben for like a referral or a meeting.
Yeah.
If we're kind of like breaking down the email tactically, starting with the subject line, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm always a fan of like kind of uncapitalized subject lines, makes it feel a little bit more
Hmm.
personal. I do think the intro line is a bit redundant. You're saying congrats on Sprig, congrats from Sprig. Then you're saying congrats on recently joining Mailshake. Then you're saying as a congratulations on your new position. You could just say like, hey Ben, wanted to send you a $50 Uber Eats gift card on, as a congratulations for joining Mailshake.
Yeah, so you're like flipping the script there kind of, so he's not reading the same thing twice.
Yeah, it just removes redundancy and makes the email shorter and easier to read. I do like this. This is like the exact type of language I use when I'm reaching out to like customer job changers. So unsure whether you recall Sprig during your time at Battleface, but we've been enabling them to research the entire product dev life cycle. Honestly, I wouldn't change anything about this. This feels super personal. You're hitting on exactly what you do. You're mentioning his previous company, and so it feels very personal and an email that's directly for Ben. But I don't know if you have
Mm.
thoughts on that second line, Maggie.
Yeah, I think like, would it make any sense to bring that forward in the email? So like, I don't know. I think like referencing your past company in the preview text would be like, whoa, like if someone mentioned where I worked before, I'd be like, all right, that's kind of getting me thinking there. That's me being super picky. I still like the way that they did it, just like you said, using the language that they did. But I think putting in the preview text could just like get that person to look at it a little bit more closely.
Yeah, I love that. We talk about that a lot, right? Like just putting things in the preview text to get them to open it. I think that'd be
Hmm.
great. Like potentially flipping these two around, or like what I've personally used for my like this same type of play is I'll put in like their previous company to current company, and
Ooh, love
so
it. Sorry.
yeah, um, for sure. Yeah, I think that is another idea as well. So yeah, I think like the person here has clearly done research. So
For
just like
sure.
bringing that research more to the forefront to get the most out of it might potentially help them.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts on the call to action though? This last sentence.
I think it's driving what cold email wants to drive in the general sense. It's asking for a response. So confirming that email, making sure that this person that they're reaching out to is maybe the right contact because they might be unsure based off the data tool that they have. So I'm kind of in between about it because I think this first email, yeah, like you said, I think their approach is like the next email, which we'll take a look at, is going to be a bit more direct of what this person actually wants, like the SDR wants.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think like a $50 Uber Eats gift card definitely moves the needle for most people. Like that's pretty low friction. All I have to do is respond to this email. Like the
Yeah.
only instance where I wouldn't want to do it is if it's a meeting. But if literally all I have to do is send you my best email, like yeah,
Hmm.
I'm gonna do this 10 times out of 10 and get a $50 Uber Eats gift card, no problem.
Yeah.
And so I do kind of like it. Like I'd never tested it, you know what I mean? But if you have the budget to just be sending $50 Uber Eats gift cards like that, by all means do it. I think it could maybe be worded a little bit better. Like, hey, send over your best email address and I'll shoot you a gift card. Like, I don't think you have to
Yeah.
add that last part. But again, I think it's interesting, cool thing to try out. And again, if you have the budget, go for it because $50 moves the needle for me at least.
Yeah. I think for the point too of it is like this person probably has a separated campaign with them sending out $50 Uber Eats gift cards. And I'm sure it's probably the same people that are in Ben's position that had maybe used this tool at a previous company. So like the chances of that being a better lead than just someone who's never heard of your company before, then yeah, I think it's like a great segment to use it on.
Right. You're not just like wasting it on unqualified leads. Good
Yep.
point.
Hmm.
Cool. So breaking down the follow-up email. Hey Ben, I wanted to follow up on my last email. As you likely know, your previous company uses Sprig to research early and often across the entire product dev lifecycle, from pre-launch concept and usability testing to post-launch and product surveys. Wow, I really know nothing about product because that went over my head. I was hoping to get your take on whether there might be a potential fit at Mailshake. If you're interested in introducing Sprig, you can schedule time using this link. Additionally, if you'd like to sign up for a complimentary account, click here. All right, so I'll kind of take the same thing, I guess, like high level, like favorite thing about this email. I like that now they're going for it, right? Like they're going for the call to action. Like you just made a big deposit, as Josh
Hmm.
Braun might say. So now go in for the ask. And it's, I don't know if this is intentional, but there's like a 5-day delay, which I like. You've let them take the gift card, maybe spend the gift card, and now you're following up.
Hmm.
That's my high level favorite thing about the email. But what about you, Maggie?
Yeah, I think like you said, it's like they had their like initial kind of big cards in the first email. I had some time to simmer on it, and then they're coming back, uh, for that direct ask, and they're leading in with good stuff like, "Hey, you used it at a last company, or your team used it. Here's a $50 gift card." So they're confident about it, and for enough to ask in the second email. I agree with you.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. And I think like a few pieces of feedback, which would be like, again, this feels a little bit redundant. Like you're following up. I don't think you have to call out that you're following up. Um, I think things like introducing yourself in the first line, saying, "Hey, just following up, just checking in." That's already what you're doing. So there's no need to necessarily add that. I think outside of that, there's just a few too many call to actions. So you've got, I was hoping to get your take. You've got, if you're interested, you can book time. And then you've also got the option of doing like a free trial. I think all of
Hmm.
these are great, but I would just pick one. And I honestly would do 3 A/B tests. So I would do an A, B, and C test and do one where
Yeah.
it's just this. Hey, Ben, I was hoping to get your take on whether there might be potential for the Mailshake. That's the whole email. The next one is if you're interested in introducing Sprig, schedule time here. Maybe don't even use the link. Just let me know if you want to schedule time for deliverability purposes, and then do C test. Let me know if you want to set up a free trial.
Yeah. This is where I have a question for you, Jed. So you said like this person, I mean, I see this a lot and I've done it myself like 100 times as an SDR, especially is like where I want to ask them 3 different things in an email because I want to give them options. And so one scenario that you just mentioned is okay, A, B, C test it. Um, do you ever just like kind of take those and put it in the next follow-up email? So like first follow-up email, I'm going to say, hey, is this a fit? Second, hey, you can schedule time here. Third, here's a complimentary account. Or is it just better to A and B test and in those tests and sequences have the same CTA? I hope I didn't just say something confusing, but I think you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, you didn't. What I would do is like A/B test, right? So copy your segment. We're just gonna go ahead and give a Mailshake demo right now, and
Oh
use
my.
this is A, B, C, and don't worry, y'all. It's only $83 a month. No, but no,
Yeah.
like to your point, like what I would do here is have the ABC test, right, for all these different call to actions. And
Hmm.
then for this one, for my next follow up email, I would throw in this call to action, right? And so I would like
Mm,
interchange it. So like I would, I guess,
gotcha.
do both of what you said, Maggie, which is where I would like in my third and fourth follow up email, I'd use the other 2 call to actions, same thing over there. And then I would just test it and see which ones are getting responses. That's probably the way I'd go about testing it.
Awesome. Yeah, I love it. And yeah, I think like, some people have the capacity to A and B test with their tool if they don't use Mailshake. No, I'm kidding. This isn't a Mailshake advertisement here. But I think yeah, either A and B tested side by side like this or with the follow-ups too. Like follow-ups are the best place that if you do want to ask 3 things, just put it in the email below and you can ask it there, but still just keeping the one ask for each email. So love it. Yeah, and I really like this approach. I think it's like I mentioned from the beginning, it's those triggers that someone just got a new job, and on top of that, they've used it at a past company or their team has used it too.
Yeah, but the approach is my favorite thing, and it requires patience. They're giving a gift card without the ask, but I think it pays off in the long run. Um, there's a cool tool I like using for this, User Gems, that like helps you track these champions. And
Mhm.
I know if you go on their website, they have like a whole like a whole playbook basically for this, where they suggest email templates that you can use for this type of play. And they kind of suggest the same sort of thing, like giving a gift card and then asking 2 or 3 emails later. But this stuff works. So if you guys have access to your customer base and can find people that change jobs, I recommend doing it on Sales Navigator. If you have the budget, get a tool like User Gems. It's a really, really solid play.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Nice job from this person from Sprig. You got our attention at Mailshake, at least Ben's attention to share it with us. And nice approach. And like Jed said, there's some tools out there that can help you do it. But if anyone wants to send in a sequence to be reviewed, you can always send it at maggie@mailshake.com. We're always happy to take a look at sequences from there, review them together here. The goal is not to tear down in a mean way, but just kind of give helpful feedback. Like Jed and I kind of talked about, that person had an awesome email, but with some small tweaks, it could be even better. But cool. Anything else, Jed, before we finish up?
No, nothing else to add. Yeah, really like the email, the follow up today. I like the stat at the beginning. Fits perfectly with the email campaign we reviewed, the one follow up. So yeah, good stuff.
Awesome. All right, cool. Well, we'll see you all in a couple weeks. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, feel free to DM me or Jed. Talk to you later.